So I don't know about you, but a lot of people are wondering, do you think the gold is at Fort Knox? President Trump's wondering if it is. He's planning on going with Musk. Musk is saying, let's put a camera there or live stream if it's going to be there or not. And when you look at the numbers, in 1933 is when FDR said, give me all your gold. The government wants your gold immediately because of war, and we got to come and take it from you. And if you don't, because people say, he didn't say we're going to take it from you, but he did say if you don't turn it in, it's a $10,000 fine and 10 years in prison. So is that a take or is that an option, right? Do I give it to you? Do I not give it to you? Holy shit, you want to take all the gold from me? They do. And when you think about, like, how many times have we gone and inspected Fort Knox? Only 3 times. You ready? One in 1943, which was FDR, one in 1974, which was Congress, and one is in 2017 when Steve Mnuchin under Trump went in and said, I think this thing is there. However, it's important to know this, that even then, they see just one compartment under heavy escort. Even then, you couldn't go and touch it and say, can I see, count it, can I see, count it, can I see? That has not happened, right? So this is very interesting, prompting a lot of different questions about whether the gold is there or not. We're going to talk about that today. If you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let me start off by first showing you this. So here's the conversation with gold. A lot of gold conversations been happening lately. Inflation, gold, tariffs. Trump's trying to do all this tariff stuff. What's going to happen with price of gold? Oh my God, it's the most it's ever been priced at. And, you know, the amount of gold that we have, according to this chart versus other countries, we have 8.133 tons of gold, where number 2 is Germany, then Italy, France, Russia, China, and then it drops off to Switzerland, Japan, India, Netherlands, Turkey, and the largest quarterly increase for any one of these countries, Q2 to Q3 of 2023. So, and when you think about 2024, which country bought the most gold? You know which country bought the most gold in 2024? Kind of weird. It's Poland. In 2023, it was China. But in 2024, it's Poland, Turkey, Azerbaijan, and China, with Poland being in the lead. Why are people trying to get more gold? Are people curious of what's going on? So that's the data here. Now, let's look at Fort Knox. The place was established in 1918 as a military post. However, the gold depository wasn't built until 1935, 1936. It took them about a year to build the place. I think they spent about $560,000 of that money back in the days. And the place is apparently fully locked down, nothing to get into, military units around with 30,000 personnel, with 400 cops that are just dedicated to Fort Knox, with M4s, M16, rifles, shotguns, the whole nine. So it is apparently fully secured and protected based on what they're telling us. So when you ask the question, why did they choose Fort Knox? Well, they bought the land. It was cheap. It was 40,000 acres. It's 30 miles south of, I believe, Louisville, hurricane free. They don't have to worry about earthquakes, no fault lines. Kentucky does get tornadoes. I was there when I went through a tornado in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. But they chose a place that was fairly safe for them, that they didn't have to worry about nearly half of the country's gold reserve being held at Fort Knox. So what does a half look like? It's roughly 147.3 million troy ounces of gold, which is 4,583 metric tons, roughly $440 billion of gold that's there. Okay, so now the way they did it, it's a fortress within a fortress. When you go in, they got 21-inch thick steel and concrete doors weighing 20 tons to get in there. Okay, so there's a clip actually when they did a documentary in 74 when they owned it. You see the man opening it up and then they close it. I was just kind of telling the media because I think at that time a 007 James Bond movie, Goldfinger, was coming out saying we're going to steal and this is how we're going to make the U.S. economy drop because of what they're going to be doing. So people are like, holy shit, maybe something's going on over here. People were curious, so they did open it up just to show it and they closed it. That's apparently what it looks like. And by the way, keep in mind, remember how earlier I told you when the Great Depression was taking place in 33, you know, FDR comes out and says, give me your gold or else, because this is how they're fighting against people hoarding up their gold. They kind of needed the gold. It was illegal to own gold from 1933 to 1974. No one was legally allowed to own gold. If your great-grandparents or parents owned gold, they were holding it illegally, according to FDR's law. This is what it was called. It was an executive order 6102 on April 5th, 1933, when FDR initiated the confiscation of gold. This is there. You can go look it up and search it. Why do you want to take our gold? The price point that they gave when they did this was set at $20.67 is what it was priced at in May 1st of 1933. So this is the part. Now I want you to think about this. Imagine the government says, we need to take your gold. They buy it from you at what? $20.67 when? May 1st, 1933. Then he, 7 months later, January 30th, I want to say, of 1934, revalues the gold at, you know what price point? $35 per ounce. And shifted ownership of all monetary gold to who? U.S. Treasury. Like this, he doubled his equity in gold by roughly 75% based on whatever price point he gave. He did that in 7 months. Can you imagine somebody, hey, let me buy this house from you, $1 million, I'm the government. You know what? That was worth $1.8 million. 7 months later, why don't you pay me the other $800,000? Imagine people that owned all that gold all this time, they're like, I'll give it up to you, I'll follow through. Holy shit, why did you only pay me $20? Now you're pricing it at $35. That's not fair. It's kind of what happened. Do you know when they announced this law, how much gold they collected? In 33, so they announced it May 1st, 33. By the end of the year, how much you think they gathered? 10 million ounces, 5 million ounces, 2 million ounces. You ready? Roughly 200 to 250 million ounces of gold flowed into the Federal Reserve banks and mints at Fort Knox. Much of it was melted into bars for Fort Knox and other depositories by 37. They suggested that about 40 to 50% of privately held gold was turned in 33. Compliance wasn't universal because some people were holding it with watches. They said, that's not jewelry, it's not watches, it's not this, it's not small things that you have. Some people kept it, didn't tell anybody, but they got nearly 50% of it. To give you context on what the influence of Fort Knox is, they have 56% of all the gold in U.S. at Fort Knox. The gold compared to the world gold reserve, it's roughly at 12.9%. That's 12.9%, meaning 147 million ounces out of 1.14 billion ounces. And of all the gold ever mined, it's 2.15% at Fort Knox. And the problem why some people are saying, well, what's wrong with auditing it now? Let Trump and Musk go in there, see what's in there. Because when you think number, like number of physical audits, actual physical audits, not, oh, you guys, oh, that's it. No, let me see it. No, you can't touch it. I want to touch gold. If you've held a bar of gold, a kilo of gold, it feels like a dumbbell. You drop it, it can break this table, right? There's something about holding the gold. The last full detailed audit with physical verification of all gold was done in 1953 under Eisenhower when only 5% was tested. Subsequent audits from 74 to 86 covered 90% over time, but these relied heavily on sealed compartments and spot checks, not a comprehensive bar-by-bar count. Since 1986, annual audits check seals, not contents, meaning if Trump and Musk are actually going to be doing this, and taking time away from their busy schedule to go there, they got to get the approval to bring a couple auditors who are experts in the gold space to go in there and say, this ain't gold, this is gold. There's ways of doing that, but that's the true way to say the gold is there, not just going looking and moving and boom, that's it. It'll be the 4th time that this has ever happened. I think it's got to be more than that. The one thing that comes down to gold, there's a lot of theories, a lot of, hey, this happened. There's even one that this attorney with a terrible name, Peter Beater, in 1974 claimed that Rockefeller sold Fort Knox gold to the Netherlands, is what he said. Now, this is unproven, but he claimed this. But watch your timing. Remember when gold, you couldn't own gold in America from 33 to 74, right? 74 is when you and I could own gold in 74. Richard Nixon, gold standard, we're getting off of it, go buy, whatever you want to do. At this point, this guy, Peter, alleged that Rockefeller family spearheaded and manipulated by David Rockefeller, the Federal Reserve, to secretly offload most of Fort Knox's gold, claimed to be worth $20 billion at a bargain price of $42.22 per ounce to European interests, specifically the Netherlands. His narrative tied this to Public Law 93 to 110 passed on what date? September 21st of 73, okay? So then 74, you can own gold. Now that's what he's talking about, which allowed private gold ownership and treasury sales, suggesting that the Rockefellers controlled the Dutch monarchy and planned to resell the gold back to the U.S. for massive profit. You know at what price point? $2,000 per ounce. The point is this. All we as the American people want to see is what? Live stream, bring an expert in gold to touch it all, not Mnuchin. He's not a gold expert. He may own a lot of gold. I don't know, but somebody that comes in and says, 1, 2, all right. Spend a couple hours, investigate it. We have it here. It's all good. You don't have to worry about it. It's never been robbed. And Americans are like, all right, cool, let's move on to the next thing. But apparently a lot of people in Fort Knox are hearing that President Trump and Musk is going to be visiting, and they're pretty excited about it. What do you think? Do you think 100% of the gold is there? Send me a tweet at my handle here at Patrick Bay David. I'm curious. I want to hear your thoughts. You can also comment below. If you got value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, you will enjoy another video we did about different countries with their reserve currency. Click here to watch it. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.